U.S. President Donald Trump has fired National Security Advisor John Bolton. Trump says he disagreed with many of Bolton's opinions and advice. Bolton is well known for his hawkish views, especially on Iran. CBC's senior Washington editor, Lindsay Duncombe, is in our Washington bureau with the latest on this. So, Lindsay, why did Trump fire Bolton?
Well, as you mentioned, Donald Trump said this was about disagreements. What isn't clear now, Andrew, is if there was a particular disagreement that sparked the end of John Bolton's service, or if this was the culmination over a period of time of things that they disagreed on. What is different about this resignation or firing is that the tone that Donald Trump took while taking to Twitter is not the sort of thank you very much conciliatory kind of thing he said about other departures, whether or not they were something that were difficult to go through. Here's what Donald Trump said. He said, "I informed John Bolton last night that his services are no longer needed at the White House. I disagreed strongly with many of his suggestions, as did others in the administration, and therefore I asked John for his resignation, which was given to me this morning." He thanks John Bolton very much for his service and said that he would be naming a new national security advisor next week. These men disagreed on so much, including how this all went down, because in a separate tweet shortly after that, John Bolton said that he was the one who offered to resign, and all Donald Trump said in return was, we will talk about it tomorrow. The big picture where these two men did not agree really came down to how the United States works with or talks to or doesn't talk to some of its adversaries. And the most recent disagreement between Bolton and Trump came down to what was supposed to happen over the weekend, and that is Donald Trump's plan to invite members of the Taliban to talk about and sign a peace agreement ending the war in Afghanistan. That is something that Donald Bolton reportedly did not support. That is something that had been in the media, and Donald Trump does not like when these disputes that happen within his administration then become something that is publicly discussed. But that is just the latest in a long list of differences. John Bolton didn't like Donald Trump's idea of sitting down and talking to leaders in Iran. He wasn't supportive of the overtures to North Korea, including the recent visit by Donald Trump meeting Kim Jong-un in the demilitarized zone, something that John Bolton wasn't even there for. So the list is long when you look at the things that these two men did not agree on.
So what will this mean for U.S. foreign policy, Lindsay? Does it mean that it becomes less hawkish?
Certainly there are some who think that that is what this indicates, including Senator Rand Paul, who on Twitter praised the president for making this move. Paul is someone who supports the idea of a lesser American presence in the world when it comes to military intervention. What it does mean, big picture for the policy, foreign policy for the United States, is the person who is calling the shots is Mike Pompeo. That's the Secretary of State, who has managed to remain on the same page as Donald Trump. We should get some answers as to what it means for specific regions, including Iran, where we know that Bolton had such a hawkish perspective, because Mike Pompeo is going to be answering questions. We expect it was scheduled to happen this hour, but when that conference was announced, that media briefing was announced, Andrew, John Bolton was supposed to show up and be part of the team answering questions, and so now we may see these senior cabinet ministers without John Bolton, unless of course it's been called off because of this news.
Lindsay, thank you. The CBC's Lindsay Duncombe in Washington.